very good morning to you. Karibu sana, and this is Money Monday, your go-to show for financial tips, great insights and wisdom for you as whether you're a day-to-day person aspiring to have that is a business of your own, you want to have this great business, this is the right place for you. Also for the day-to-day people, help you become that is financially independent in the future. And today's edition of Money Monday, we're going to dive into something that is really interesting, something that is transformative for you as a day-to-day person. I'm talking about that is financial risk management. As you know, risk is everywhere. Whether you're a student, whether you're a day-to-day person, whether you're a business or a majority of company, risk is everywhere. And a major research that was done shows that 70% of small businesses in Kenya fail within the first 3 years, largely due to poor financial planning and unmanaged risks. And globally, 42% of people live in paycheck to paycheck, meaning a single unexpected crisis, job loss, illness, debt, market shift, and market shift can destabilize an entire life of a person or a company. And also you can see that 60% of businesses loses each year income from the risks that were predictable but not managed early. And organizations with that is strong risk management frameworks are 50% more likely to achieve that is long-term success. So these numbers show something that is really important, that is risk management is not just a corporate term, it's a survival tool for most businesses, day-to-day people, entrepreneurs, and all organizations. And today we break down what it matters, what it means by the term that is risk management, why it matters, and how you can apply it to protect with future. So make sure that you stick with us till the end. And that's why today in studio I'm joined with an amazing guest. He's full of experience when it comes to the world of finance. He's a financial consultant. However, when it comes to matters with that is planning, risk management, he's well equipped. That is CPA Kitur. A very good morning to you.
Good morning, Angela.
How do you?
I'm doing good.
You're well?
Yeah, and thank you for this opportunity to come and demystify some of the issues in relation to risk management, financial risk management, and various aspects of risk management.
Okay. Yeah. Let me start by asking you, that is a general question before we really dive into the topic, but it is related to what you're talking about today. Back then, before you became that is a financial consultant and also as a CPA, what are the errors or the mistakes that you made as a person when it comes to that is finance management and risks?
Angela, I remember last time we were talking about cash management, and cash management, it's part of our risk management. So of course there are various mistakes you made on the issues to do with financial risk management, cash management. To an extent, probably I failed to achieve some of the objectives I wanted to achieve in a particular aspect. But now when you learn about that cash management, that risk management, you are able to meet your objectives. And Angela, when you talk of risk, risk is basically any uncertainty or a threat to the achievement of an objective. So you have an objective that you want to achieve, let's say within a certain period. There are uncertainties that can come in, or threats that can come in that may affect the attainment of that objective we had planned.
And risk, does it happen to anyone, or does it happen to these corporate people with millions and companies?
Yeah, thank you, Angela. As I was telling you, to demystify some of the aspects of risk management, risks, we are all faced with risks.
Even me?
Yeah, irrespective of the status you are, be it you are in a business, be it you are a multimillionaire, be it even you are a person at the lower part of the hierarchy. Risks are everywhere. Let me just use a very simple example. If you have a vehicle, you are driving a vehicle, let's say you are moving to Nyahururu or Nyeri, part of the risk management is, let's say, having having a spare tire, so that in case you find an issue with one of the tire, you are able to replace with the spare part, and you continue with the journey. That is the risk management. So it cuts across every aspect of life, every individual, be it an SME, be it just one individual, be it a corporate, companies, and all those. Risk management is a very important aspect.
Wow, that's really interesting. And now let me connect this, what you have said, with this question. According to the statistics that Mizpah, over that is 70% of people and businesses, that is globally, they fail within the first year because they fail to have that is they don't consider that thing that we call financial risk management. What could be the problem? Could it be that they are tending to ignore it, or could it be that they don't have an understanding of what it is?
Yeah, thank you, Angela. And that is a very nice example. That can also, you can use it even to know more about risk management. When you start a business, the SMEs, you have given statistics. When you start a business, you want to obtain, you want to grow that business. Probably in the first year, your target is up to a certain level, or it could be profitability or even expansion. But you may find yourself that after 1 year, you have failed to achieve that objective in that level of business or the scale of business operation that you wanted, because of uncertainties which have come in. It could be even uncertainties in relation to compliance issues. It could be, there are some businesses which have had to come down to be closed as a result of non-compliance with issues to do with it could be taxes, issues to do with government. You may have started a business, but you fail to follow all the processes in relation to that business. You find yourself coming in contact with the law enforcement persons, and those are the risks. So that now when you have that business, as a way of ensuring that you now be part of the 30%. When you say 70% are failing, and 30% meaning they have succeeded. So joining that 30% means you need to do a proper planning. Last time we were talking about cash flow management, and I have also integrated cash flow with risk management because it's a component. In fact, when you have used the term financial risk management, part of it now is cash flow management, where you want to manage the cash flow so that you are able to achieve the objectives. Failure to manage that, it means now you fail to obtain that objective that you wanted to obtain. And there are various aspects, and all of those revolve around risk or uncertainties that affects you in as far as achievement of the objectives, and that is why you find that statistics almost 70%, and it's worldwide. It's a global thing. Meaning even worldwide, people have not embraced the management of risk. And when you look at it, government entities, government side, it's a law. It's a law that it's part of the law that you need to have a risk management. There is something known as risk management policy. For someone who may be going through what the Auditor General is giving, Auditor General is an auditor of public government and public entities or government entities. One of it looks at is this government entity, it could be county government, does it have risk management policy? If you fail to have that risk management, or you may just be having a policy but you are not implementing it, that is at the higher level. Even us at the lower part of it, you are expected to do part of risk management. It could be you having a policy or just ensuring you become proactive in as far as attainment of an objective that you want to attain. You become proactive, not reactive. When you say proactive, it means now you are able to look, you want to attain this objective, let's say within a year, within 2 years. You become proactive, looking at all the uncertainties or the threats to the attainment of that objective, and that is basically risk management.
Wow, I love the way you have explained it, and now help us understand one of the risks that you have mentioned, that is matters to do with compliance, and you probably could give us more. What are the types of risks that a day-to-day person might face and the business people?
Some of it are the issues to do with even when it comes to business, you have engaged somebody, and you fail to follow the due process in as far as engagement of that person. You know, in Kenya, it's almost illegal for you to terminate employment of a person without following the due process. Yeah. We are talking about the issues to do with tax compliance. When you have a business, you need to comply with all the tax laws which are expected. Failure to comply with that, then it means now you may come against the laws of Kenya. So you deal with the law enforcement persons, and you may find yourself in trouble, and even your business being in trouble. So Angela, that area of risk management is so wide, and it's applicable to each and every person, each and every entity, be it a government entity, be it a private sector entity. Like assuming you have a school, let's say for an ECD classroom, some of the risk management aspect we are looking at, even how the classroom has been made. You looking at the windows. Does it have grills in case of fire coming in case fire comes in? How will you escape? You look at even how the door is opened. Are you opening towards inside, or you are pulling outside as you move? Part of the risk management is looking at that, how you have positioned even the windows, the doors, so that in case of fire breakout, you are able to reduce even the negative effects of the fire. So it's every aspect.
And still on that is the types of financial risks that people may experience. Let's talk about that is liquidity risk, that is running out of cash when you need it. How can the business people, especially the entrepreneurs, handle that? We have types of risk, especially in business. We have when the credit risk, situation operational risk. When you talk of credit risk, your ability or inability to meet the repayment of, you could have borrowed, so you are running a business on borrowing, or there are some loans you are financing. Are you able to pay, to repay? Again, even are you able even to obtain that loan? That is credit. That is a credit risk aspect. We are looking at the financial risks affecting the business, issues to do with now you are talking of liquidity. Liquidity. Are you able to pay your current liabilities as they fall due? The debts which are falling due within a year, are you able to meet? Like you have you purchased goods on credit for sale from suppliers, creditors. Are you able to meet the repayment of those as they fall due? So that is liquidity risks facing the business, the ability for you to meet the obligations as they fall due. Okay. And before we dive into that is how to identify these risks, because when I statistics, it's because the reasons to why many businesses fail, it's because they identify the risks but they're not able to manage it early. Before we dive into that, there is a type of risk that I would love you to help our viewers understand. That is the market risk. In case of inflation and the currency fluctuations or interest rates, what are the things that business people can do, especially on the aspect of inflation, to make sure that even if inflation doesn't favor them, they're still prepared? What can they do?
And thank you, Angela. When you talk over now market risks, issues to do with, you have mentioned inflation. Inflation is basically the general increase in prices of commodities or services that you are purchasing. A situation where we are having a rampant increase in prices of our commodities, where you are able to buy, let's say, an item today at, let's say, 130 shillings, or let's say 100 shillings. And because inflation keeps on rising at a rapid rate, like what happened in Zimbabwe, you may have purchased an item at, let's say, 100 shillings today. And tomorrow, because of inflation, the increase in prices, that item you are able to purchase in the market at, let's say, 150 shillings. So you had purchased at 200 and you want to sell at, let's say, 130, but now the inflation has increased, especially where you are purchasing. That will affect the business in terms of even the attainment of the risk. I remember last time in Kenya, when the price, the exchange rate, dollar exchange rate was, you can call it, the Kenya shilling was becoming weak.
Yes.
It becomes weak where if today $1 is, let's say, 140 shillings, and tomorrow $1 is, let's say, 170 shillings. So it could be you are purchasing an item in, let's say, in China. You are purchasing today at let's say 140 shillings, but because now the dollar has gone to 170, it means if you have, you need to convert into dollars. So today you are converting a dollar into 140 shillings, and then the following day you are exchanging at 170 shillings. It means now the cost of the item that you are purchasing has gone up. And the local market prices will remain, it is in Kenya shillings, so it will remain almost at the same level. But now you are purchasing outside Kenya at a price which keeps on increasing. You are purchasing tomorrow at, let's say, 170 shillings, but Kenya you are still selling at the ordinary selling prices. So it affects even the cost of what you are purchasing, meaning the profitability will go down. You may even run into losses, or even you are repaying that loan you acquired outside outside Kenya, but because the exchange rate has gone up, it means the loan that you had borrowed, and you remember you are repaying at a price which is higher than what you had borrowed initially. So meaning you are repaying, you are likely to run into the loss. Kenya celebrated recently when they all started dropping. Can I call it the drop just in a simple language? The exchange rate was around 160 shillings. That is $1, 160 shillings. It came to now it's revolving around 130 shillings per dollar. Kenya is celebrating because now what they are paying is less. You remember you only require 130 shillings to convert the shillings into dollars, rather than the initial one which you required 162 shillings to convert the dollar for you to repay that loan. So they celebrated. And now when the reverse happens, it means now you will when it comes to repayment, you will need more dollars than you had, than it was the case before. And those are part of the market risks, credit risk, and issues to do with inflation, which affect the business. So it reaches a time, remember, you may, as a business, you may not have a control on issues to do with inflation. So now you are, as a business, what are you doing? It reaches an extent now when you are managing that the prices are increasing rapidly. You may decide probably to buy in large quantities because you want to manage the risk. So you buy in large quantities. So that now, even when the prices go up outside, still you already acquired those items.
Because of buying in large quantities.
Because of buying in large quantities. But now, that is an aspect of risk management where you are managing now that aspect of. I remember Zimbabwe. There was an increase in prices to an extent when you are purchasing a bread. It was 5 billion Zimbabwe dollars. They were saying you required a wheelbarrow to carry money go purchase bread.
That's sad.
So that is as a result of inflation. Now when you are faced as a business on that aspect, now you manage according to that situation. Are you able to purchase in large quantities? Say that even when the prices are going up, in fact it becomes even positive to you, because now you are able to purchase at a price which is lower, but now because of inflation the prices have gone up, so you may also decide to sell.
And now let me ask on the same note, that is in relation to the day-to-day people, because I believe there are some who are watching us. When it comes to that, is financial risk management in times of inflation. How can they handle that situation, that when these things are expensive, still I'm managing my finances well?
In times of inflation.
Exactly.
When you look, you are now looking at how rampant the general increase in prices, which is basically the inflation. Then now, once you analyze, because with risks, with risk, Angela, one of the first step is basically for you to identify those risks. And once you have identified the risks, then now you do risk assessment. For risk assessment, you are looking at as aspect of analyzing those risks. How are those risks likely to affect you? And then now, once you have done that, now you are in a position to even prioritize the risks. The risks that you are able to absorb, and the risks you are not able to observe. Those you are able to observe, then what you can do, Angela, is probably do away with some of the aspects. Because assuming it's a business where there are risks that you are not able to observe, then you are likely probably to do away with that. Or you can do what is known as risk mitigation. Risk mitigation is basically you are taking steps to reduce the effect of that risk in the business. So that is basically the risk management aspect when it comes to even as a result of the general increase in prices, which is inflation. Identify those.
That's really nice. We are going for a short break. Then when you come back, we're going to start with a few things that you've mentioned. What are the steps that we can take as day-to-day people, and also for the entrepreneurship to make sure that we reduce that is risk. And when you mentioned that is risk assessment, you could elaborate more what you meant by that. They'll be checking the how to, you've mentioned you need to identify the risk. They will help us to understand how can we identify the risks so that we can be on the safer side. For our viewers, we're going for a short break. Then when we come back, we'll continue with this amazing conversation. Make sure that you get to leave that is a comment that is on our social media handles, that is on 0799 200 100. That is WhatsApp number. Tuambie, what are you learning so far? So good. I'll be so glad to hear from you. Stay tuned. We'll be right back after the short break. And welcome back. This is Money Monday. That is your go-to show for financial tips and great insights on how you can become a great entrepreneur and making sure that you as a day-to-day person become that is financially independent in the future. And today we're having an amazing, and I mean it when I say an amazing conversation that is transformative to you as a day-to-day person and also an entrepreneur. That is financial risk management. We said risks are all over globally, and that's why today in studio I'm back with my guest CPA Kitur. Welcome back. And I love the way in the first session umetusaidia kuelewa what you mean by the term that is risk management. And then before we went for a break, there are a few terms that when it comes to that is financial risk management. Mentioned that is risk assessment, and then ukasema also we need to have steps on how to reduce risk. So when you mentioned by the term risk assessment, can you elaborate more based on what you said on the first session, what you meant by that?
Yeah, thank you, Angela. Basically, when you talk of first of all, when you talk of risk management, it can encompasses steps, series of steps. You start with first of all identifying the risks. Okay. Let me ask Angela, did you come with umbrella today?
No, I didn't know it.
Suppose it rains today and I can see the makeup is
okay.
So if it rains, then you run the risk of being rained on. Unless you have alternatives, you can mitigate that risk. Yeah, so that is basically the first step. You identify the risks that you are likely to face. Risks, that is the first step when it comes to risk management.
You identify.
Yeah, you identify the risks. Then the next step is now the risk assessment.
Okay.
Once you identify those risks, you want to assess the risk in terms of even the likelihood of it happening, the impact when it happens.
The outcome,
Once now you have done that, under risk management, you want to prioritize the risks. And remember, once you have identified the risk and you now do the risk assessment where it encompasses issues to do with prioritizing, you know, if I have these risks, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, up to whatever comes, then now you see in terms of this, which is likely to affect me when it comes, which are part of this risk which are likely to even affect immediately the continuation of my business. The magnitude of the risks happening. Once you have identified all those, which is basically risk assessment, now you take the steps of doing mitigation. Once you have identified those risks, you have prioritized, you have to do the risk assessment, now you take the steps of doing a risk mitigation. And some of the risk mitigation measures, one, Angela, is basically you can do away with. In terms of, if it's, let's say you are to run this business, and you have identified the risks which you are likely to face in that business, and you have seen you are not able to continue with those risks, that is continue that business because of those risks, you can do away with that risk, that is that business line of business.
So you don't have to do it.
Yeah, that is just an example. Because if there are risks facing you and you are not able to let's say do away with in terms of I can call it absurd, they call it risk appetite. I am trying to use simple terms. I don't want to because we are demystifying the risk. Now, you know, somebody when they hear about risk management, we are looking at risk management as something that is being done by big organizations. Yet I have told you if you are able to come with an umbrella or not, which is part of risk management, cutting across every aspect of life, individuals and all those. So risk appetite, are you able to observe that risk? To what extent? If this risk happens, are you likely to continue with the business, or your business will collapse? And are you able to withstand that risk happening? If you are not able to withstand and you have identified that risk is likely to happen, then somebody may decide, let me change the business line. I would have wanted to do this, but because there are these risks which I am not able to withstand when they come, let me now move to this other category of business. So those are the risks you are not able to withstand. Now the risk you are able to withstand in terms of even mitigation measures, like even taking an insurance, like if let's say we have a risk fire coming in, or even a motor vehicle being stolen, somebody may decide, let me take an insurance in relation to this. It's only that in Kenya when it comes to motor vehicle, it's required by law that you take a third party policy or a comprehensive policy. So you know the risks which are likely to happen are these, and when they come, it's likely to terminate the continuation of my business. So let me take an insurance. Let me take a step to mitigate the happening of those risks. That is when it comes to now insurance. You can mitigate through even reducing having a protective measures. Aside that, when that risk happen, let's say somebody wants to do a dairy farming. There are risks being faced by dairy farming, issues to do with market, issues to do with when diseases which are likely to affect your animals, or even risks to do with an ability for you to obtain enough feeds for the dairy cattle. Those are the risks now facing the farmer. So somebody may decide to say, before even starting this dairy farming, let me first of all stock enough feeds. You know, that is risk management. Let me stock enough feeds. Say that once I have the dairy cattle, I not have an issue of running out with the stock in relation to feeds. And you know, I've used an example, and let me continue using that example. You know, dairy farmers, some are even stocking feeds for lasting for 2 years. That is risk management, and that is mitigation measures. That are when if this risk can happen, like drought happening, still you already have the feeds to enough to take the process up to probably when you obtain other feeds. That is risk mitigation measures, insurance, protection where it's possible, like let's say for a building like this, even using smoke detectors, fire detectors, so that in case of fire breaking in as a result of probably even fault lines, electric fault lines are happening, touching each other, then that smoke detector is able to detect. That is risk measures which are being taken, risk management which are being taken to say that when that risk happens, you are able to identify. Once it is identified at the initial stages, then early measures can be taken to reduce the effect of that. That is risk management. I think, Angela, I've covered. I think I've tried to simplify risk management.
Yes, you have. Yes, you have in the best way. And let me add something on on top of what you have said, that is methods to curb, that is risk management, risk, and let me join that with investment. Unajua investment is also a risk, and for a day-to-day person who is diving into the world of investment, because it's a risk, what are the things that this person is supposed to consider, and after considering it, what are the things that they can do to make sure that the risk, the outcome of the risk doesn't affect them that much?
Yeah, thank you, Angela. That is still an example. You are doing an investment. Once you identify you want to do an investment, now you identify the risks.
Okay.
I've talked about risk management is a process. You identify the risks. Once you identify the risk, it reaches a situation where you can say, let me do away with this investment, because these risks happening, when they happen, then it's likely to affect your stream of income. Or even you can do mitigation measures where you do something known as diversification. You have a portfolio of investment. Like that, you may find somebody doing an investment, somebody deciding to invest in securities in Nairobi Stock Exchange. You know, there are uncertainties, there is in that, and says part of the money I have for investment, let me do treasury bonds, let me invest in governments, which are, the interest rate is lower, the stream of income is low per year, but there is that certainty. Yeah, that is a risk. That is an investment. You are diversifying. Somebody may say that part of this investment money I have, can I now run a business where I have a control on the day to day? So somebody is having a decision to do an investment, and as part of risk management, he or she decided to invest in diverse portfolio of investments. Because we have array of investment opportunities, and that is basically risk management. You want to say, if the shares I've invested in, let's say in Nairobi Stock Exchange, companies are not paying dividends, but now because I have an investment in government securities, I am still able to get a stream of income and meet my obligation. I'm thinking of, let's say somebody is retiring, and he or she has been given a retirement package. If let's say that person decides to invest fully in shares in stock exchange, and those shares he has invested, probably even one company, invested in one company, and at the end of the year, the company has not paid income or dividends. You know that person will not get that income, and the person has already retired, so no employment income he or she is getting as a result of that. So now, but now having that risk management, identifying the risk, and now doing the diversification of investment, that is basically risk management.
Diversification of investment. And we're talking about, that is, you have mentioned it all over and over. You need to identify the risk, but how do you do that?
Good.
Yeah.
Identification of the risk at the simple stages. Assuming you can use an example, somebody is driving towards Nyeri from Nakuru. What are the risks he or she is likely to encounter? We have things like even a tire burst. So he identified one of the risks he or she is likely to come across is having a tire burst or an issue with his tires. No, now he puts a spare wheel. You know that he has identified the risk. And he has taken measures to mitigate the effect of that risk. Another thing is probably not reaching Nyeri on time. So one of it is basically risk mitigation measure. In that case, is basically starting early. You have an engagement in Nyeri at 10, and you are in Nakuru at, let's say, 7. You know, you may likely not to reach out by that time you expected. So somebody may decide, let me start a bit earlier, or even and depending on the nature of that engagement, somebody decides to go a day before. So that is basically risk management, and it happens on a day-to-day. I've used that simple example. Otherwise, in entities, big organizations, I was telling you about Auditor General, giving negative report as a result of an organization not having a risk management policy, or having a risk management policy but not practicing what is required. At that higher level, Angela, an entity is expected to have a committee known as risk management committee. And now that is to a bigger level. But no, you should not scare us. That is to a government entity. Having a risk management committee that sits on a quarterly basis, and having what is known as risk owners, risk champions in organization, various persons in the departments whose work is basically to identify risks which are likely to face that organization.
That goes even for the big companies, right?
Even SMEs and whatever, depending on the scale at which you are operating. So you have persons who are there to basically just to sit and identify the risks which are likely to happen in an organization. Reading the newspapers, what are the business news today which are likely to affect our business. So that is to their level. So to an individual or a business at a lower level, just identification of the risks. Like you may be running a business and now una permit ya county council or county government. So the risk that you are facing is prosecution. And that is why people are sometimes who don't have that permit, they are so alert. So alert.
Yeah, wakikuja mmefunga.
Money around, ukuja ndio inafunga. So risk management is something that we are expected to practice day in, day out, and we become proactive in terms of uncertainties which are likely to face you as an individual, uncertainties to face you as a business person, and then now you take steps to mitigate the likely impact of those risks happening. So we are faced with risks, whichever scale you are
in all phases of life. And in the first session, you had mentioned that is the controllable and the uncontrollable risk. Help us understand the difference between the two. And for the uncontrollable risk, what is there anything that you can do about it?
Yeah, thank you, Angela. When you talk about controllable risks, basically risks you are able to control. I'm still using the same vocabulary. You are able to control. You are able to do protective measures to ensure those risks. Like assuming you have a poultry, you are doing poultry farming. Risks that you are faced in that case are these wild animals coming to eat your chicken. So what you can do, you can control that by having a protective barriers or fence, so that those animals will not. So you have controlled those risks, and these risks that you are able to control, you can control through even taking mitigation measures, like if it's, let's say, fire, you want to do, let's say, an insurance. You want to put smoke detectors in the building, so that when those risks happens, you are able. Those which you are not able to control, now you make a decision either to do a different line of business. Somebody may say, I was hearing somebody in the social media that he had to decide not to do farming because of the fact that he's in Nairobi, and the farm he wanted he had started actually here in Nakuru. So because of the issues, employees and the like, Asema is not able to continue with that business because the risks he is facing, he is not in a position to control. So he decided to do away with that business. Yeah,
that is one of the options that people might apply. And on the same note, as you're explaining, you have mentioned tools like that is insurance. And let me ask, how do these tools like emergency funds and insurance protect someone from that is financial risk? Because many people tend to ignore it.
You have mentioned emergency funds. That is a reserve, and that is also another avenue in which you can mitigate the risk happening. You are mentioning about liquidity. Liquidity is basically an ability for you to risk on the liquidity aspect. The inability of you to meet the obligations as they fall due. So one of it is, let's say, having a reserve fund or even an emergency fund, so that in case of the happening of a certain risk, you are not able to meet the obligation, you can use that emergency fund to now solve that problem. So that is liquidity, and that is risk management in as far as that is concerned.
Okay.
Which other thing you mentioned?
That is, you had mentioned that is insurance.
Yeah, insurance. Yeah. That is a mitigation measure. And many people have not taken that issue of insurance. You know, in Kenya, you know, insurance cover in percentage, and I call it percentage or what in Kenya. As Kenyans, it's less than 10% who have taken insurance cover. Apart from this one, we are calling share. Share, they are saying it's part of insurance. Outside share, insurance for life, insurance even this one for motor vehicles. People are taking because it's a requirement. It's a requirement by law. Either you have a third-party policy or a comprehensive policy, and you find people are taking a third-party policy because that is the cheap, and it's only covers the third party. Meaning when you are not covered, you have not taken that risk. But because we may not want to vindicate those measures, but now it's the law that has forced us. If insurance was optionable, was an option in Kenya, Angela, I can tell you probably we can be having many vehicles not having insurance covers.
Can you say
people are not taking
it's because people don't understand the urgency of that is insurance in financial risk management?
Yeah. Surely, because people are not taking mitigation measures, and that is why even for entities, most entities have not taken insurance. You know, farming even has an insurance cover. There is an insurance cover where you plant maize or you have your dairy cows, you take an insurance cover. So that in case of anything happening, like diseases affecting your animals, dying, or even your animals being stolen, the insurance company can repay that. But that has not taken shape in Kenya so much. Most people are not able to take risks.
Yeah, and we have that is 5 minutes. And now let me ask, what are the mistakes that I might make as a day-to-day person or an entrepreneur might make that generally that might expose them into financial risks?
Into financial risks?
Yeah.
And I'll keep on mentioning this issue of cash management and financial planning. You know, financial planning is basically a way in which you want to mitigate the negative effects which are likely to happen when you fail to meet the obligations as they fall due. Because financial planning, cash management, you want to know, you are identifying your revenue streams, even doing budgeting. You know, budgeting is part of an aspect of risk management, an aspect of cash flow management, where you are identifying your various streams of income and various streams of expenses. So that now, once you have identified that, you are able to take steps, even prioritizing the payments which are likely to fall due, and you are able to meet. Because there are some payments which may have a legal implication if you fail to pay, like even taxation. The time to pay has arrived, but you fail to pay. You know, KRA can freeze your accounts. Those are the risks which we are facing as a business, and financial planning becomes part of the risk management, cash flow management part of risk management. You're identifying the inflows and outflows and taking steps to ensure that when they fall due, you are able to meet and you mitigate now the negative effects happening as a result of not meeting those obligations. Yeah. And
as we wind up, that is matters on building resilience. What habits would you advise that is the young people to develop so that they can build a long-term financial resilience?
Yeah, thank you, Angela. Basically, being proactive in nature, and you know that is a component of risk management. Being proactive, you want to start a business, or even you are doing a certain activity, which you want to obtain a certain objective over a given period of time. So becoming proactive, you need to identify what are the uncertainties which are likely to affect me when it comes to running this activity or even running this business. Could be somebody who is running, let's say, an athlete. Somebody is practicing to join the league of athletes in the world. Yeah, so you identify the risks that you are likely to face, and then now you take steps to ensure those uncertainties in between you are able to mitigate. Yeah.
Oh, that's really powerful. Thank you so much for availing yourself for the show. And I believe that our viewers have learned a lot for today. And for those who are interested, or those who wamekutazama and now they feel stirred up and they're interested, that is matters to do with financial consulting, probably you can share your number.
Yeah, thank you, Angela. I think we run a consultancy firm known as Bone and Drew, where we partnered with 7 people. We have our offices in Nairobi, Mombasa, Kericho, Nakuru, where I run, and Kisumu. And we do consultancies in issues to do with auditing, taxation, and every aspect. So my number is basically 0723 46 7020. 0723 46 7020.
I believe that wengi watakutafuta, and I big thank you for breaking that is financial risk management, and now we have understood it clearly and helping us understand on how we can protect our future. For our viewers, thank you so much for watching today's show. I believe that you have learned a lot when it comes to the world of finance and risk management. Zile vitu zenye ulikuwa unafanya kitambo and they're exposing you to the risk. I believe now after watching this show, make sure that you apply everything practically that you have learned today to remember that start early, plan wisely, and build resilience. And also another thing that you'll be told, life will always come with risk, but how we prepare determine how we rise. So how do you prepare when it comes to the world of risk management? Make sure that come with it inside, go back and watch the show, because I believe everything that has been said there is going to be transformative to you as a day-to-day person and as an entrepreneur. My name is Angela Kabete. Thank you so much for tuning in for today's show. Till next time, may God bless you abundantly. Have a productive week ahead. Bye-bye.